Good morning, Jordan here from Artisan Electrics. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, thanks for watching. If you subscribe to our channel, you'll get regular videos from us. If you hit the notification bell, you'll be notified every time a new video comes out. So today it's an electric vehicle charging job, and I'm going to be installing an EO Mini Pro, which is one of the smallest charging points on the market. This is for a Tesla Model 3 that somebody's bought, and it's a bit of a tricky one for them because they only have on-street parking, which is not designated. So they can't claim the grant, but they want a socket putting in their passageway next to the road, and then I'm going to be putting the socket in there, and their plan is to run the cable across the pavement to the vehicle with a long cable and a cable protector. It's the only way. This is the kind of situation that people are going to have more and more as they buy electric vehicles and they don't have dedicated off-street parking. So it's going to be interesting to see how the government tackles this in the future. But for the moment, it's the only solution really if you've got an EV and you want to charge it up but you don't have off-street parking. So I'm going to be putting in a pen fault detection device for this charger because the EO Mini Pro doesn't have built-in pen fault detection. So I'm going to be putting a MATI device which detects if there is a pen conductor fault and will disconnect the circuit. And it's quite a nifty little box because it's a combined RCBO. It's like a mini consumer unit really, with a double pole RCBO and a pen fault detection device built in. I'm going to be upgrading the mains tails as well because the main fuse needs to be upgraded from 60 amp to 100 amp, which will be done next week by the DNO. So should be a fairly straightforward little job. I'm going to try and get some footage on it and show you what I'm up to. As always guys, thanks for watching, and if you enjoy this video, hit a thumbs up and share it with someone else who might like it. Also, before we get into the video, the pinned comment below will be a link to my Amazon shop. Many of you ask where I get my tools from and what tools I like to use. Well, I've got an Amazon shop now where I have a list of all my favorite tools, and you can see where you can buy them. So click on the link below in the pinned comment and you can have a look at my Amazon shop where you can see all the tools that I like to use on a day-to-day basis. Thanks for watching and enjoy the video. So we're going to be putting the charging point just here, and basically on the other side of this is the street where you've got on-street parking. Charging point is going to go on the wall about here, cable down, clipped along here, and then the other side of this is the mains cupboard. So we're going to drill through there, armoured cable into the mains cupboard, terminate it into the MATI device, and then tails from the main Henley block into the MATI device. And I'm going to upgrade the main tails for the consumer unit as well, so that that's ready for them to upgrade the main fuse. Obviously you can see how tricky this situation is because they only have on-street parking, so they've got a rubber mat there that they're going to just roll across the pavement and then be able to charge the Tesla, which is just there. It's the only way really. So yeah, bit of an interesting one. So a couple of checks that we always have to do, which one is check the main bonding. So we've got the gas box here and we've got the main bond to the gas, which is fine, nice and solid. And the wire is not loose or anything like that, so that's good. So here we've got the main meter, electric meter, old cutout fuse which is 60 amps, so UK Power Networks are going to come and upgrade that next week. Consumer unit here is absolutely full, so there's no spare ways that we can actually use. So what we're going to do is just put this MATI device on here, and that will provide the pen fault detection that we need and also the RCBO to protect the charging point. The EO Mini Pro has 6 milliamp DC fault protection in it, so it only needs a type A RCD. This is the MATI device, and it integrates, as I said earlier, a type A 40 amp RCBO, double pole, so that provides the overcurrent protection and RCD protection that we need. And then in here is a contactor which isolates all three conductors, phase, neutral and earth, in the event of a pen fault. Got cable entries in the bottom here, so we're going to take our cable for our charging point out of one of them and then open the other one up and take the mains tails from the Henley block into that, and that will give us the power. And then probably what I'm going to do is run the armoured cable, drill through there in the corner, run the armoured cable along, loop down and into the bottom of the charging point. So I've managed to drill a hole through here at a slight angle and come out exactly where I wanted to on the other side. What I'm going to do is actually run twin and earth from the MATI device through to the outside and then put a whisker box on the outside and terminate the armoured cable into that. It's just going to be a bit of a neater way to do it, and it's going to mean it's going to be easier to work the cable through the cupboard here and do everything nice and neat. So we've got the hole here where I've drilled out, and what I'm going to do is just put a whisker box over that and then terminate the armoured cable into the side of the whisker box and run it straight across. So that'll be a nice neat job then. So this is the inside of the MATI device. As you can see, we've got a double pole RCBO here, there's an earth terminal, and then this contactor which isolates both the phase, earth and neutral conductors, and then this bit of electronic circuitry is what measures the voltage. I believe it's a voltage operated pen fault device, so it measures the voltage, and if the voltage goes out of a certain range then it will automatically disconnect the contactor, which then cuts off the supply to all three poles. So what I've done is I've cut out a 40mm hole in here, and I've got this whisker gland for the tails. I'm going to run 25mm tails straight into the bottom of the RCBO there, and the earth terminal. I don't know actually if I'm going to fit a 16mm earth in there, so I'm not sure what I'll do about that. And then outgoing from the contactor, another whisker gland here, and the 6mm twin and earth cable will come out of there. So this is the joy of being an electrician, getting stuck in small cupboards. But because the cupboard was so small, what I've decided to do is pre-wire this outside. So I've actually been able to wire in the tails, wire in the 6mm outgoing cable, all outside on the ground, which is nice and easy. So we've got that terminated in here, armoured's terminated, and Chris has neatly clipped it along and up, ready to get into the charging point. So what I've got to do now is mount the charger on the wall and terminate the armoured in that end. I'm going to be using a pack of these storm glands, which are quite nice because they just blend in well because they're black compression glands, and they do have the earthing nuts in as well. So going to be using that today. So this is the EO Mini Pro in its box. Let me show you what's inside. So here is the charging point, a very smart looking bit of kit, And I'll just get a screwdriver and open it up so you can see what's inside. All the charging gear is on the front, so you've got a type 2 socket here, so single phase, so we've just got one phase in earth and neutral. You've got the CP and PP connections, which is for communication with the vehicle, and here is the incoming connection that we're going to use to connect the armoured cable into. Nice thing, it comes with a little dent here to drill your hole in the centre of the box, and this just connects via these little push fit connections. So once you've mounted that on the wall, terminated the armoured, connected those cables in, you just click these into place. There is a little dial on here which we need to adjust the charging rate, so we'll set that up. The little dial is just in here, and we'll set that up for 3.6 kilowatt for the moment, and then we'll ramp it up later once the UK power networks have upgraded the main cutout fuse. Nice little charger, very neat, very compact, very small, so overall I think it's quite a good bit of kit, and it's pretty solid, it's good quality, so can't complain really, it's very nice. A couple of things to note about this way up, so you have to get the box the right way up. There is a little aerial here which is for the signal for the communication with OLEV network, and the screw holes are in here, so no drilling holes in the back of the box because you will compromise the IP rating and it will end up full of water. So 4 screw holes which I'm going to mark with my marksman tool and then get it on the wall. So I've got all these flying leads connected. My main cable is connected into the mains terminals there. I've done a flying lead from the earthing nut on the steel wire armoured, and I've just run that down into the earth terminal at the bottom there. The reason being that this earth terminal is only big enough for one cable. The other thing I could have done, I suppose, is put a wire go in the back of the box here and then split off with one to the flying lead, one to the mains and one to here, but I just decided to do it this way this time. So I'm going to just change the setting in here, this little dial, so that it will only charge at 3.6 kilowatts at the moment. I'm going to go and connect it up at the other end and then start doing some tests. So there's a couple of really important things that the instructions require before commissioning these things. So one of them is this. You've got this chart, and it shows that actually by default the charger will be set to 0 amps. So if you don't adjust this little dial here, then it's actually not going to charge. So what you've got to do is set it to the correct amperage setting, which normally if you want a 7 kilowatt charge it'll be 32 amps, but in this case I've just set it to number 5, which is 16 amps, just to limit it for the moment to avoid risking blowing the main fuse. Also, another thing that it mentions in the instructions is that the power cable entry should be from the base of the EO Mini Pro, which is what I've done. You shouldn't take it in the top or the sides. Also, you should use ferrules on all power cables, which is what I've done here. So that's just good practice anyway, but ferrules should be used on the power cables coming into the charging point. And then one more thing, which is that you shouldn't over tighten the plastic screws, which are the ones that screw it in here, and then you should fit bungs which are supplied with it to seal it off properly. So here it is, all sealed up. I've put the bungs in so they just finish it off nicely and make it waterproof. And here is the type 2 socket. As you can see, very small charge. It's about the size of my hand. And what I'm going to do now is just liven it up at the circuit breaker and then run some functional tests on it to make sure that everything's working correctly and connect it up to the Wi-Fi and the app. So the blue light is slowly pulsating, and then when I activate it using my Rolex charge check unit, then light goes green. That indicates that it is charging. All good. So here's the solution for off-street parking. Basically, that's the only way. But it's quite a neat little mat, this, so it's not really a trip hazard. So the charging point is in now, everything's up and running, cable neatly clipped along the wall here into the whisker box, drilled through at an angle into the cupboard. I need to give back their meter box key before I forget. So that's all good, and then inside I'll show you the device that we've installed. So this is the Matti device, all up and running. It does buzz slightly because of the contactor inside, but that's normal. So I've upgraded the meter tails, so they're all as they should be now, 25mm, and the UK Power Networks guys just need to come and upgrade the main fuse here and upgrade the main tails into the meter from their side, and then we're all good to go.